Hello, Discovery One. How are you today? As I explained in the text message, this video is going to be a quick video just to cover some parts of yesterday's class that we didn't talk. Okay. Uh, so, like I'm saying, this is yesterday's presentation. So August 23rd, 2021, Monday. Okay. And when we started, I think is lesson 1.3 or 1.4, we started it with this presentation here, this slide talking about childish Gambino, because I wanted to present you new vocabulary and also talk about the use of this adjective. Then we went to difficult people. What difficult people do you know? We talked a little about these vocabularies. Then we talked about the interview of Mary Bolster. Okay, she's the editor of a health magazine, and she talks about all of these difficult people except parents. Okay, then we went to this activity with two truths and two falses, and is page 12. Yes, page 12. In page 12 we also have this activity. Okay, so we just need to read and complete the web page with 1 to 4 statements. So we have this web page, we need to read these statements and put them in the correct place. Okay, uh, I will just ask you to pause the video for as long as you need. Read the web page and complete them with the statements, okay? Finished? So, let's go. Uh, 5 easy ways to help you talk to difficult people. Pause and take a deep breath. Count to 10, and count to 10 if necessary. It's useful to give yourself time to think and assess the situation. The less you react, the better. Letter B. Think what like them. It's important for you to put yourself in other people's positions so you can see the situation from another perspective. Listen carefully. If you were in their situation, what would it feel like? Letter C. Concede a little. Even if you agree with only 1% of what they are saying, let them know. Remember, it feels good to be heard and have your opinion valued. Letter D. Watch your body language. Look the other person in the eye, smile if you can, and don't cross your arms. These guidelines will make it easier for you to be understood. Remember, successful communication is less than 10% verbal, okay? And letter E, above all, be patient. All right, let's move on. In this lesson, we are learning about using the infinitive with adjectives. Instead of using the infinitive only with the verbs that we talked, now we are working with adjectives, but the same idea will be used over here. Now we just need to pay attention to the voice in the phrase, okay? So we have a division here between active and passive voice. Don't worry, we will study passive voice in a few months, in a few lessons, but for today, for this topic, that's what you need to know. Okay, let's read together this over here. Using the infinitive with adjectives, active and passive. When we use adjective in affirmative or negative plus the infinitive, that's the way it's gonna work. That's the way they are going to work in the active voice, and that's the way in the passive. It's better to keep calm, or it's hard not to be annoyed by inconsiderate neighbors. Uh, and here we have adjective for object, not infinitive. This over here, it seems like, oh my God, there are a lot of information here. But if you pay attention, if you look at the example, it's easy, adjective, for us, object, not to listen to people. Or it's essential for people to be treated with respect. Okay, so as you can see, use be plus past participle happens in passive sentences. You can see that we are using the verb to be here and the past participle. The verb to be here and the past participle. Okay, now I will ask you to pause the video and please try to check the correct information, the correct rules. Just just analyzing these four examples, okay, with number 2 and number 3. Okay, so number 2, use not to make negative sentence. We don't use don't, okay? Don't is the auxiliary do plus not. Here we are just using not because depend on the verb tense you are going to use in the active or passive sentence, okay? Uh, Now, number 3, you can or you can't use the comparative form of adjectives. You can use it, okay? Now, just to practice more your observation skills, take a look at letter B. Reread the sentences 1 to 4 in exercise 8A. Which pattern in the grammar box is each sentence, okay? Let's try to state the relation between sentences 1 to 4 in 8A with letter A, B, C, and D. Pause the video to complete that, please. Let's go to the answers. So sentence number 1 is related to letter B. Sentence number 2, letter A. Number 3, letter D. Number 4, letter D. Okay? So is that just a moment? Okay, so I just checked and sorry. Number 4 is letter C. Let me change this over here. Uh, Number 4 is letter C. Okay, so moving on. Let's practice for let's practice that using the infinitive with adjectives with this text we have here. Read the end of the web page in 8A and correct 4 mistakes we have here. We have the first example. I hope these tips will make it easy you to handle. No, okay? For you to handle. Trying to use the infinitive and trying to use all the information we have here in this box, this grammar box. Let's try to correct the problems we have here, okay? Pause the video to complete that. Okay, so I'm gonna read the text and let's correct it together. I hope these tips will make it easier for you to handle some of the toxic people around you at home, work, school or work. But keep in mind that it's important to choose. Okay, remember that you can also use this over here. You can also say it's important for you to choose your battles wisely. there will be times when you will be successful and times when it will be very difficult for the other person to persuade, to be persuade. Okay, and remember that in the passive we use be and past participle. So what's the past participle of persuade? Persuaded. Okay, so in those cases, it's no use trying. Remember, it's impossible to change someone. Following the same idea from the previous example, we can also say it's impossible for you to change someone. Change comes from within, okay? Within is from the inside. Now, letter D. Complete survival tips 1 to 6, making them negative or passive if necessary. So, how to survive your first job interview. Okay, you have here, okay, you be nervous. So, it's okay for you to be nervous. Using the same idea, let's try to complete all of this. So, please pause the video. Okay, let's go. Number 2. It's natural for them to be curious about you. Number 3, it's important for you here is optional, okay? It's important not to arrive late. Number 4, it's advisable for you to dress smartly. Number 5, it is not essential for you to keep checking your phone. And number 6, it's important for you not to be intimidated by the questions, okay? Sorry, I forgot to close my WhatsApp. Just a moment. Okay, so what is the most important thing over here with this topic? Remember when I told you about the position of not in the sentence? The position is very important. If you put not before the adjective, you're going to change the meaning of the sentence in most of the cases. Okay? There are a few exceptions where it doesn't matter where you're going to put not. Okay? But remember, as we talked about it yesterday, when we change not, the position of not in the sentence, we are changing the meaning. So be careful. Okay, like the example over here, the last example, it's important for you not to be intimidated by the questions. If we change not, the position of not, okay, if we put the not before the adjective, it's going to be like it's not important to be intimidated by the questions. So that's a different sentence. So be careful about what is your message. Okay, so just to finish, on page 14 we have, do you still make voice calls? Okay, we were going to talk about this yesterday, but we didn't have time. But this part over here, I just want to see your opinion about what do you think Steve Jobs' opinion on technology was. Okay, we're going to listen to an audio, and I wanted to just choose one of these two sentences. One of these two sentences represent his opinion in this small audio, okay? So just a second, let me change it. So let's listen to the audio, okay?
Audio 1.14. And it's no good doing that, really. I mean, they're just kids.
If you've just tuned in, with me here in the studio tonight is Dave Jackson, renowned psychologist, family counselor, writer, and father of 3 who's...
4.
Wow, really? Sorry.
Not a problem. As you may have guessed, I love kids. The more the merrier.
Right. We're talking about the challenges of raising kids in the digital age. Dave, During our break, you mentioned Steve Jobs.
Uh-huh.
What about him?
A while ago, I read a New York Times interview. The iPad had just been launched, and the journalist asked Jobs how his kids liked it. I remember the article said he limited how much technology his kids used at home.
No way.
It's true. And you know what? He was absolutely right. I mean, there is so much.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Don't worry. But regarding Steve Jobs' opinion over here, what do you think? Which one do you think? This or this? It's that we should limit how much technology our kids use at home. Okay? So, the next part we finish tomorrow, and that's it. Okay? I thank you very much for watching this video because I was just a little worried because we didn't talk about the infinitive with the adjectives, although we talked about the infinitive a lot. But that's why I recorded this video. Okay? If you have any questions, you can use the group. You can reach me through that group. Okay? Bye bye. See you tomorrow.